sometimes when we're experiencing CPTSD flashbacks and we don't fully understand them and we haven't worked through them enough to feel grounded to work through them when they happen, sometimes we try to control the external environment. We may want people to stop doing things. We may want people to change their behavior so that we aren't triggered. Now, obviously, if you're in an environment where you have people around you that are supporting you, if they can help you and modify certain things, that's a wonderful thing. But that's a Band-Aid. That's a Band-Aid on the trauma. If our response to CPTSD flashbacks is to make sure other people change and stop, the trauma stays there and something else will trigger it. A similarity that your nervous system chooses will trigger it. Okay, so that being said, let's shift into what can help. Obviously, one of the most powerful things that you can do is have that awareness of what's going on. When we don't know what's going on, it just makes it harder. It makes it harder to feel regulated or to regain emotional regulation, right? Because we don't have an understanding, and that just feeds the anxiety and things just keep spiraling out of control. So learning to have awareness that when you're having these reactions in your body that are causing this emotional dysregulation, that it has a name. Okay, it's not that you're going crazy. It has a name. This is a normal thing that happens with complex trauma. So you want to normalize it. You want to have awareness and you want to normalize it. So I say that because what can tend to happen after a CPTSD flashback, and believe me, I know because I struggled with this at one time, was the backlash of my own inner dialogue after experiencing an emotional flashback. When you don't have the awareness and you don't normalize it, you can wind up attacking yourself and beating yourself, because the truth is that when you're having a CPTSD flashback, you are not you. You are not acting like yourself. And you know that. So when you come out of it and you look at how you acted or reacted, it can open up the door to a very harsh inner critic that is ready to kick you when you're down, beat you, point out all the ways you're messed up, all the ways that you are frustrated and disgusted with yourself. And again, this comes from, it's part of the trauma, because that inner dialogue that you're inflicting on yourself is probably the internalized voice of the person that inflicted the trauma in the first place. But when you have that CPTSD flashback and then that inner dialogue kicks on to beat yourself because of it, and you're trying to heal, it's almost like you're picking yourself up, flinging yourself down against the floor, kicking yourself while you're down, and then pulling yourself up by the back of the collar and trying again to move forward over and over. And that is not fun. And that is extremely painful, extremely, yeah, it hurts to do that. So back to the resources. You want to, again, the awareness, the normalizing, and then listening to that inner dialogue. At some point, we have to start kind of naming the voices in our head. Not saying that everyone that has CPTSD has different personalities living inside of them, but we do have internalized pieces that are really not part of your authentic self. They are the internalized voice of the abuser. The internalized way of treating how others treated you has been internalized with how you treat you. So healing, as I say this a lot, it's not about just getting out of a toxic relationship. It's not about just learning about the toxic person that hurt you. Yes, that's part of it, but it's important to then look at how this has affected you when they're gone. You really have to start noticing where you are treating yourself like the person that abused and hurt you from the past. There was no doubt emotional abandonment, and then we wind up internalizing emotional abandonment. So we have to start overcoming that. And then we have to learn how to peel back an emotional flashback till we get to the wound, what's really going on in our nervous system. We have to peel it back to understand what is it associating with, what is the meaning that our nervous system is making it, and how do we change that? And that's a lot. That sounds like a lot, right? That sounds like a lot of work. And I'm not going to lie, it does take time. It does take time to rewire yourself so that your brain and body are no longer, losing my voice, are no longer reacting to past trauma. It does take time. It does take patience. It does take learning how to do things differently with yourself. But it is so worth it, because if you're not willing to deep dive and learn how to work through this, then the problem with trauma, unlike pain we can experience, and there's that saying, time heals all wounds. Time can heal pain wounds, but time cannot heal trauma wounds. So if we aren't willing to do the inner work, then trauma and the side effects of it can affect you for the rest of your life. And who wants that? It's for that very reason that I put together the Thriver School of Transformation, because I wanted to provide a powerful resource to help people to work through trauma in a way that was easy to do so. I wanted to provide a resource that allowed people to be able to stick with a program that helps them to peel back the trauma little by little, that helps them to work through the side effects of the complex PTSD so that they can get to their authentic self. And the way I do that is we meet live weekly on Zoom in the Thriver School of Transformation. So make sure you check out the links in the description box. Help is available, and help is also affordable. And you don't have to do it alone. So make sure you check out those resources.